Dumbledore. 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 Hey guys, welcome to the Mr. Will channel. This is my daughter Lily, and in today's video we will be showing how we made the Burrow. Ron Weasley's house, right? Ron Weasley's house. So enjoy, guys. So I've been wanting to do a project like this for quite some time. I've looked on YouTube all over the place. A fair bit of time over the past year to look up DIY projects. I've found Hagrid's Hut, you know, Nocturne Alley, Diagon Alley, all that kind of stuff. But the Weasley house, the Burrow, seemed like the most easiest to kind of start from being a non-DIYer to getting this crafting thing down. Special shout out I have to give out to Omnicraft. It's a crafter from Finland who inspired me to do this. She has a video up on YouTube, and I will link it in the description of this one. You can see where I'm starting to get my measurements down and building up at a foam board. Quick tip right here, I did not know that there's like a golden rule of do not spray paint foam board because it will melt away the foam. So my general advice would be just buy the black foam board from your craft store. That way you don't, I thought I almost ruined my project once I had it all glued together and started spray painting it. So don't do that. There you can see I installed the lights and again painted it black, which do not do that. Laying down the popsicle sticks and figuring out exactly where I want my brick to go on either side of the structure. Slowly implementing the balcony and other pieces of wood. I know the front joist right there is a little different than how you see it in the movie, but I thought it would be a cool creative decision to add that cross beam joint in between. Making brick, you basically just peel away that top layer of your foam board to get directly to the foam. That way you're able to etch out brick and give it more texture, and it'll adhere better to the paint once you get up to the painting process. For the corrugated paper, you just simply buy that as like $1.50 per sheet, and obviously it just looks like tin. I guess you could do it out of aluminum foil, but who has that time to go through and do all that zigzagging? You just buy it, like I said, for like $1.50 or something. I came back to this side. I didn't like how all the one side was popsicle sticks, so I came back and changed it and added some thinner coffee sticks just to, you know, break up the mundaneness of it and make it look a little different. Here you can see it really starting to come together. Just about time to start laying the roof down. You know, every single step of this process, almost every single day, I was just thinking to myself, what would Mr. Weasley do? You know, obviously this is not movie accurate level quality or design, and I wasn't even really trying to go after that. I was just trying to make it my own the best way I could. So if you can see there in that picture, that is where the result of me spray painting kind of melted and warped the foam around the bottom half windows, but it kind of turned out okay because working on these windows was probably one of the most challenging things to do. So I was able to kind of custom make my own windows in my hand rather than having to fiddle with the entire structure of the building and not getting my big giant banana fingers around there to the back to when I was gluing. So it kind of worked out, you know, in a couple of those windows that I had to go back and change. I finished all my windows on this guy, but I forgot the controller for the LED lights. It's still in the box. It's in there. I forgot to pull it out and feed the wire through the wall or window. So now I probably got to get through it from the bottom. We'll see. Stupid. Yep, there's the battery pack for the LED lights right there. So moving on, using what's called chipboard. It's like very thin cardboard. It's like cereal boxes, pizza boxes, that very thin cardboard. Everyone has it. Go ahead and draw your lines out. I think this is 1/4 of an inch apart. Draw your lines out and get a straight edge, and you can typically, you know, get you a good X-Acto knife. I probably used or went through about 4 blades throughout this whole project because you want to make sure you get a really nice, sharp, clean cut with your lines. I knew roofing would be probably the most tedious, you know, process of this project. There's a couple of different ways you can go about doing it. I elected to go this way, where you just cut all these tiny strips and then cut, I guess, 3/4 of the way up of each strip to get the shingled effect, as long as you overstack them to where you don't see the top of the strip. You could cut them individually all the way through, but that just seemed like a tedious and even longer process. But as you can see in the end result, I think it was a good decision to do. All right, I got the roof pretty much completed. Just added the trim work down the corners. I really like the little extra detail I added here. That's going to be like 10 patches. And up here where like the posts come through, the shingles are kind of flayed out. I added those on there just for looks. Now I'm just working on trying to get this chimney right, because I want to try to paint tomorrow, because I am off for Mardi Gras, but Lily still has to go to daycare. So we got all day to work on this thing. By the time I got to this point in the project, I was really, excited and really looking forward to getting to the painting process of it, even though I was kind of scared of painting, because I'm not a crafter or an artist. I'm not that great with color, palette theory, and all that kind of stuff, but I was really happy with what I got so far. So I ran out of black paint today, so I was unable to finish the bottom here, but I got all the top painted. But I started on the roof with this brown, and I am just blown away with how incredible this already looks. Not to toot my own horn. A quick point to make here: that black first coat of paint is not just black acrylic paint. That is black paint mixed with Mod Podge. That is a tip from a crafter by the name of Black Magic Craft, who gives a lot of these kind of arts and craft tutorials, mainly doing like Dungeon and Dragon type stuff. So I just wanted to let you know that that is not just black acrylic paint, but it also, the Mod Podge acts as like a preservative as well. All right, I finally got done doing the base coat black on the bottom. I did the brown on top, let it dry, and then I came back with this orangey tan, which I don't know if you can see, this light's kind of bugging it. Did it all across with this orangey tan. I think it looks pretty dang near close to what I was going for. It's really weird, this black and orange. But yeah, done for the day. This is my first attempt at doing a somewhat gray on the bottom with the cool flower petals. I really like the flower petal design, but I just could not nail the type of gray that I wanted. I did this 2 or 3 times and kind of just gave up, honestly. And I might go back in the future to fix it or make it better, but past me is about to explain exactly, what my thoughts was at the time with this step of the project. I really did like, however, my tin roof that you see there, doing like a burgundy brown and then spotting it with orange. But I will now give it over to my past self. Past self Thomas, here you go. Hey everyone, little painting update. I know I haven't been given like how you would traditionally see people doing tutorials and whatnot. Haven't really done that or thought about that aspect of filming. I've just been kind of going and, keeping a catalog. So I figured I'd give a small update now. Let me figure this out. So at first, I'm sure I'm going to throw a picture up. I painted this gray on the bottom, and it was like too dark gray. So I ended up coming back with a little bit of a lighter, white gray to it. I'm about to redo the little, I guess you call them flower petals, to the bottom base. It's going to be a little bit grayer than what's going to be at the top white. So I just wanted to give you that little update, as well as I decided to go ahead and paint the rustic tin roof, which was my first time. It's basically the same base gray that I did for the bottom to get that, gray tin look. And then I think I believe I used like a burgundy brown to start the rust going, and then just kind of spot spot tapped with some orange to give that really rustic, weathered in tin look, which I think looks really good. Did it on these patches as well. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just went to the store to get some white. So I'm going to try to do the walls today and hopefully the brick. And then I'll just be down to the windows, I think, pretty much, and the balcony and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll start doing some black wash to get that weathered patina finish. So yeah, there's my update. Finally in the home stretch of painting, got the white and started to get the brick painted and doing the black washes. Again, Black Magic Crafts, he does an excellent tutorial on how to go about doing all this kind of stuff with the brick and the washes and all that kind of stuff. So I used a lot of his tutorials and advice when it came to specifics. This is called a wash. It's basically black acrylic paint and water, and you just kind of dilute the water with paint. You can also, instead of black, you can also use brown and green, just depending on your judgment and what you're going with. But this is mainly just a black wash, and I would just suggest to make sure you smear out all them bubbles, because if you let it dry, you will see the blotchiness on the final product. So just make sure that you wipe any of those bubbles that you might see out of the way, because you're gonna have to shake it up. Again, with the brick, just giving it a nice black wash to get in those grout lines to accentuate them and make sure that they really pop through once you come back on top with the moss and stuff. So that's pretty much it. We're really in the home stretch here. The only thing left to paint was pretty much the windows. Now, I'll be the first to say I'm not 100% satisfied with the windows. They were kind of the hardest thing to do. Just getting the hot glue to adhere to the plastic that I selected and the wood. You can kind of see all the hot glue hardened, and it's not great if I was like a professional. There's me cutting out the LED, hole to get to the battery pack. And so I went ahead and painted all the windows, and I just wanted to give it one more final wash just to kind of darken that white up before I went on to, well, there it is. There's the moss. So there's a couple of different ways you can, there's my little Easter egg as well, 22222. There's a couple of different ways you can go about doing the moss. You can throw it all into like a cup and mix the glue, just regular old Elmer's glue and the moss, and you can just mix it all together and just throw it on there however you please. I tried that once and it was just too clumpy. It was kind of hard to manage, and it kept like just clumping together and rolling around and not sticking where I wanted it to go. So some professional crafters out there might look at this method and be like, well, that's the slow way to do it, and they're probably right, but this worked for me, and this is what I went with. I just wanted to make sure it was thin as possible and not clumpy and round when I was doing it. But the side effect of doing it this way, you'll see here in a second, where even just like a tiny little speck and trying to push it down there, it sometimes would not adhere at its best. So you just got to stick with it and do the best you can. And that's just more moss laying down. I didn't want to go too crazy with the moss. Again, it's not really in the movies that it's covered in moss, but obviously I think it looks a lot better. I just didn't want to go too crazy with having moss all over the place. And so it was right about here when I finished that last line of the chimney with moss that I realized that I was done. So without further ado, here you go.
It's not much, but it's home.
I think it's brilliant.
Well guys, that'll do it for this video. I really appreciate you clicking and checking it out. If you don't mind, I'm always kind of awkward at this point in the video, but if you don't mind, please leave a like, comment, and be sure to subscribe for future, content that I'm putting out. Again, I really enjoyed, this. This is almost kind of a therapeutic, project for me to do. It was fun to do all this kind of stuff. Special shout out to Omni Crafts for inspiring me to do this in the first place. Again, I've been seeing these types of videos, these craft videos, and hers was by far the best that I've seen, and it really kick-started me to wanting to build my own. And I hope that it's appealing to you guys, and if there's any professional crafters that stumble upon this video, please give me some feedback on what your thoughts are, and happy to accept constructive criticism. Again, this was really fun to do, and I hope to put out more videos like this in the future. Thank you guys so much for clicking, and be sure to subscribe below and leave a comment as well. I guess I wanted to say as well, with the situation in Russia and Ukraine, that my thoughts and prayers are out there. It's a terrible time that we live in, and it's unfortunate what's going on in the world for a lot of people and how this is affecting people. But I just wanted to take a moment to extend my well wishes and thoughts to families and people out there that are in an unfortunate situation. But thank you guys for clicking, and check back later. I hope all is well. Come here. Come here. Ugh. Hey everybody. This is my daughter Lily. Lily, can you say hey?
Hi.
Hey Lily, whose house is this?
Harry Potter's.
Well, it is close. Who's Harry Potter's friend? Ron Weasley. Say that loud. Say Ron Weasley. Say Snape. 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 Severus